Welcome to a world drowning in stuff. Did you know that the average American home contains about 300,000 items? That's right. From clothes to gadgets, we are surrounded by things we hardly use. But here's the kicker. A 2019 study found that 91% of people admit they feel overwhelmed by their belongings. This is the dark side of consumer culture, a culture that tells us more is always better. In the race for more, we've lost sight of what truly matters. Every year, Americans spend around $1 trillion on non-essential goods. That's enough to feed the entire population of the US for a year. Yet, with all this spending, happiness levels have remained stagnant. Why? Because owning more doesn't equal happiness. In this series, we'll dive deep into the rise and fall of consumer culture. We'll uncover the reasons behind the shift toward minimalism and explore how it can reclaim our freedom. You'll learn why owning less can actually bring you more joy, and how this lifestyle change can help heal our planet. Get ready to rethink everything you know about consumption and happiness. The collapse of consumer culture is not just overdue, it's a necessary step toward a more fulfilling life. Buckle up, your journey to simplicity starts now. Chapter 1. The rise and fall of more consumer culture didn't just happen overnight. It began in the early 20th century with the boom of mass production, advertising, and the promise that more meant better. The message was clear: if you bought enough, you'd be happy. By the 1950s, consumerism was in full swing. Shopping wasn't just a necessity anymore, it became a lifestyle. But something shifted. As people collected more stuff, they started to feel less fulfilled. A 2010 Princeton study found that beyond an income of $75,000, more money doesn't lead to more happiness. In fact, many people feel weighed down by their possessions. Clutter causes stress. A study from UCLA's Center on Everyday Lives and Families showed that higher levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, were directly linked to cluttered environments. The collapse of consumer culture isn't surprising. As we've built more, we've also grown tired of having more. The more we bought, the less value each new thing brought us. This cycle has left us with a society overrun by things we don't need, leading to what some call a crisis of abundance. As brands push us to consume more, we're left feeling overwhelmed and trapped by our own stuff. Chapter 2. The illusion of success. Why more isn't better. Consumer culture has sold us a big lie: that success is measured by what we own. Big houses, new cars, and the latest gadgets have become symbols of achievement. But the reality is, owning more doesn't equal happiness. In his book, The Paradox of Choice, psychologist Barry Schwartz explains how having too many options actually leads to anxiety. Instead of feeling free, we feel paralyzed by the choices we face. Think about it. How often have you stared at your closet, full of clothes, and still felt like you had nothing to wear? Even financially, consumer culture hasn't been as rewarding as we might think. Americans carry an average of over $5,000 in credit card debt, according to a 2022 study by the Federal Reserve. People are buying things they can't afford, hoping it'll make them happier, but all it does is add more financial stress. Worse still, consumerism has skewed our sense of identity. We begin to define ourselves by what we own, not who we are. A 2021 study from the University of California found that materialistic people tend to be less satisfied with life overall. It's clear that this pursuit of more is leading to a cultural burnout. Chapter 3. Minimalism versus the consumption machine. Minimalism offers a different approach: less is more. It's not about deprivation, it's about intentionality. When you clear out the excess, you make room for things that truly matter. Joshua Becker, author of The More of Less, explains that minimalism isn't about having nothing, it's about removing the unnecessary so we can focus on what brings us real joy. Owning less is better than organizing more, he says. And he's right. When we pare down our possessions, we gain clarity. Minimalism also helps you cut ties with the endless consumption machine. In a world driven by ads and algorithms, minimalism offers freedom. Instead of buying the latest trend, minimalists buy only what they need. According to a 2022 report from the National Retail Federation, U.S. consumers were exposed to around 5,000 ads per day. That's an overwhelming amount of pressure to buy, but minimalists aren't buying into it. Minimalism goes hand in hand with financial freedom, too. By cutting down on unnecessary purchases, you save more. A 2019 survey by Bankrate found that 61% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. Minimalism helps flip that script. Instead of living paycheck to paycheck, minimalists build a cushion by living with less. Minimalism challenges the very foundation of consumer culture, and as more people adopt it, the consumption machine slows down. It's not just a lifestyle, it's a movement. It says no to the constant need for more, and yes to a life of purpose and intentionality. If you're enjoying this exploration of consumer culture, consider subscribing to stay updated on more insights and strategies for living a minimalist lifestyle. Chapter 4. Simplicity is Power. Reclaiming freedom from stuff. Minimalism is more than just organizing your closet or tossing out junk. It's about reclaiming control over your life. Think of it as removing distractions so you can focus on what really matters. When you live simply, you make space for things that bring you true joy, things like relationships, experiences, and personal growth. Surprisingly, the clutter we surround ourselves with often controls us more than we realize. A 2021 study by the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that a cluttered environment negatively affects focus and productivity. It's no wonder that people often feel overwhelmed in their own homes. When you simplify, you reclaim both your time and mental energy. Financial freedom is another big win. When you stop mindlessly buying stuff, you free up resources to do more of what you love. According to a 2020 CNBC survey, 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Minimalism can help break this cycle by encouraging intentional spending. The more conscious you are about your purchases, the more control you have over your finances. Decluttering doesn't just lighten your space, it lightens your mind. A minimalist home creates a calming atmosphere, reducing stress and promoting mental well-being. Marie Kondo, author of The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, famously said, "The best way to find out what we really need is to get rid of what we don't." And it works. Once you simplify, you're left with only what brings you joy. Minimalism gives you freedom from the endless cycle of wanting, buying, and accumulating. You stop being a slave to trends and marketing tricks. Instead, you live intentionally, valuing quality over quantity. It's a lifestyle that's not only good for your bank account, but also your mental health and peace of mind. If you found value in these insights and strategies, don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for more discussions on minimalism and living a purposeful life.